These walls can talk. Open your mind and listen.
Trailing down these hollow halls, can you hear me? Staring down these story walls, can you see me?
Oh, you did something. I think you did. No, you did something. You did the overlay. That's what it was.
Oh, I screwed it up.
Yeah, that was you. It's the underlay we want. There you go.
Oh, that's why I should let you do that, right?
Yep.
That's right. All right, so welcome to tonight's show. We took a month off. Last time we were supposed to be broadcasting, I was in the U.S. of A. It was a bit of a disappointing trip,
How was
frankly.
it?
Nah.
No?
Yeah. You know what? We thought we'd just get out of town for a couple of days. We went to Watertown and Syracuse, and unfortunately, due to the cross-border shopping being cuffed off for like 2 years, it's a little more depressing than it needs to be.
Not as exciting as it used to be.
And we stayed in a hotel. We went to this hotel, and I'm just going to talk blabber until we get more viewers on. Thank you for the one person that's on there, probably Brandon. And
We got two.
we got to the hotel and went to the front desk, and nobody was there. And I rang the bell, and nobody was there. And I rang the bell, and nobody was there. I looked around, I yelled around for about 20 minutes, and nobody was there. So we left, came back 2 hours later, still nobody was there. And then eventually we were able to book into the hotel about 7 at night. It was all right.
I've never gone cross-border shopping
For-
because I haven't been old enough to. I didn't have my license either, so I was saying,
You know what? Like, we went for 2 days, and we spent $300.
I spent
That's
$500 today
We
already.
bought some cereal and stuff, stuff you can't get up here in Canada. And one thing I will say down there is that the drivers do the speed limit. Okay. Yeah. And up here we speed,
Yes.
and down there the people are rude, but the customer service is pretty good. Up here the customer service is
Terrible.
the customer service is terrible, and we're polite. So,
Sometimes. I mean,
It's
working as a cashier before, it's hit or miss sometimes.
but it was what it was. It was kind of boring. So we're going back to the Big Easy in September. We're headed back to New Orleans, which was the best trip we've ever taken. Enough about that kind of stuff. So tonight we are going to discuss theories of the paranormal. And what really needs to be said about this is that, yeah, every theory could be right. I'm not going to smash theories. I'm going to talk about my personal opinion on them. And through experience, that's what we're going to talk about. I'm not going to go like a heavy deep dive on many of them. I'm just going to kind of pick the low-hanging fruit and talk about it easily. Because there's a trillion and one theories, right? I'm not going to touch on things of the nature of the ESP or any of the Art Bell research, CIA type crap, clairvoyance, clairaudience,
Right.
and all that stuff. That's a different show.
Well, yeah,
Right.
that's
Not theory. That's someone's existential experience. So I'm not really going to get into that. I was raised a spiritualist, so obviously I can touch upon that. It might make me a bit more skeptical towards it. But it is what it is. But I think what we need to discuss is the fact that one of the things that's happened nowadays anyway is that, theories are theories. And hey, Mike Arturi, he's a coworker, is that theories being what they are is a theory. It is, it's a theory. Everything could be a theory. You could have a theory that you wear the right kind of jeans
Well, that's
to
the thing.
an investigation.
Yeah.
If you wear tight jeans, your voice goes up, therefore they can hear the frequency in your voice differently, so therefore more ghosts come, right?
Right.
That's theory. But the problem that happens over the last 40 years of this is that these theories have become working fact.
Right.
Like you hear them talk about it, and it's not like, well, this could be because of maybe.
Right.
And we're not doing tests to test those theories so much now, as we're going into an investigation with the mindset that this is, fact.
Right.
This is now a working philosophy.
Right.
And I was going to touch a couple of them. That didn't sound right. I was going to, well,
I mean, like, even like theories in like the science world, like it's the same thing. Like in order to be a theory, it has to be able to be disproven. That's literally like the number one rule of theories. Is that it has to have the capability of being disproven.
and I know that like we challenge a lot of them, and we've used the same theories, the same working, thought,
Right.
and then we've challenged them, which is all about what you should be doing. I've been talking to my boss a lot lately, and I see like one of my coworkers is on there. My boss has got a education in neuroscience, so I've been discussing a lot of things on EMF,
Right.
and had some good fact, right? And it bolstered some of what the community does, but I don't think, again, like, are we using it appropriately?
Right.
Like say when we work with teams like CPRI, that they take data from like
Right.
5 years,
Yeah.
accumulate them, but again, what they come up with, I don't know that a lot of pragmatic teams such as us would really have much use for it,
No.
because I don't know really what the hell it means it's worth
Right.
quantitatively. So, okay, let's talk about the first theory. Wow, there's only 3 viewers. There was a high of 4. Let's get some more. All right, are we broadcasting on Facebook right now?
Yeah.
You sure we are? Okay, well, bullshit me now, because last time we weren't. You screwed that up.
No, that was an issue with the account. That was not me.
Yeah, but you do that. So children and animals are better at seeing the paranormal and are more perceptive.
I think that it really stems from like, first of all, dogs just barking off at like whatever.
Dogs are stupid.
Dogs are dumb. Like there are times that Benji will just
I generally, myself personally, disrepute anything that has to do with animals, just because like, there you go.
Oh my god. Okay, 1 second.
So
Just keep talking. You'll see.
the idea behind it, of course, is that children are precious,
Right.
and that they are uninhibited. That's the going thing, right? Because kids and dogs and fish are not. We're having a technical issue.
It's okay. No one's here.
So like they're innocent, and because they're innocent, they can see it. And I don't think that. You know what I mean? Myself personally, I don't think that.
Right.
You're right. I do think that kids have got wild imaginations.
Oh, definitely.
And they see fluff in the air, and they think it's a little thing.
Yeah.
Like,
Right.
my dog the other day in the hallway just jumped up, and freaked the hell out.
Right.
Probably because he like, I don't know, like stuck his tail in a socket or something and got shocked or something. But
Now to ask that, did I have any imaginary friends growing up?
yes,
Did I?
yes.
I didn't. I don't remember that. Like I know some people like are like very able to remember, but like I did not think I had imaginary.
Sure you did. You were a strange kid. So,
Okay, well that's known, but
I mean, like, so I don't put a lot of weight into it. Sorry to say it. It's never been clinically proven. It's never been, you're not going to hook a wire up to a kid's head and see what they're seeing through their mind. So guess what? For me, I don't work by it. So if you contact us and say your kid said they saw something, unfortunately, 9 times out of 10, it's probably imagination.
oh yeah.
Okay, it is what it is. Now this, of course, that theory became really popular in the 80s, especially when all the horror movies were coming out.
Yeah, when it's really good.
And you had television shows with psychics on them all over the place. And that's right. By the way, psychics, again, remember, they're always Scottish,
Of course.
or they're always from the deep south.
Right.
So they always got to have a twang.
A twang or a
Well, they got to sound like it, right?
accent.
My Scottish coworker Paul will hear that and get really upset when I tried to be Scottish. I'm not Scottish. I have no Scottish blood. Spirits follow you home. Look, I've been investigating for 30 years. I've done over 500 investigations. We've done provocateur type investigations. We've done Ouija board type investigations.
Yeah.
We've done seance type investigations. We've done the psychics there and bringing in spirit. And I've had psychics from other teams telling me that I've got gargoyles, whatever the F it was, running around my feet, and that there were people hanging out of trees around me.
Well, I hope so.
Which is at least neat, and I wish I could catch that on video, but not the case. I've never been followed home that I can tell. Now, in my own home, we've caught cotton.
Cotton and EVP.
Yeah, I think that's a new word.
All right.
Uh,
I'll write it down.
EVP in my home on 3 different occasions. They're all related to each other. Like the EVPs themselves have got
Right,
relation to each
okay.
other. So maybe I did bring somebody home. If that's okay, then you know what, I'm all right with that. Because then I got something to research here right at home. Let's have a look. By the way, just to show you, right? My notes. You see how great my notes are?
Chicken scratch.
Right? And they're kind of like that. That's why my topic matter sucks when I do it. Spirits always follow the path of the past. I don't get that.
It just doesn't make sense. Like, to constantly be attached to the past when sometimes they might it might be completely irrelevant.
Well, this could be. We don't even know what the physical boundaries are.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
If spirit even exists to start with.
Well, that's the thing, but I mean, even in our investigations, we typically always bring up the past as like part of our questioning. But
Yeah, it's part of it.
but sometimes like the spirit might not even exist from the past.
But like I said, people will say that if you rebuilt your house, the spirit will go through the walls differently. Well, how do we know they go through walls?
Yeah, that's the thing.
I mean-
There's no actual like theory to that.
Like what if spirit? I'll just toss a new theory out there. We'll see if it gets used.
Alright.
Okay, so spirits are supposedly of an electrical emitting source.
Right.
So what if they travel through your house through the outlets?
Imagine
All
it's,
the wires.
swimming through.
Yeah, like they're physically swimming through some tube that's in the wires, right? But we don't know what spirit is to start with, right?
Right.
So the fact that they say that they only walk a certain path is kind of weird.
Right.
We gotta get more viewers on here, guys.
I know.
Oh, geez, check the Facebook. Is that your Facebook or
Yeah.
my Facebook? Okay, so you got 2 faces. All right. I'm not gonna check my daughter's Facebook. I never have. Well, no, it'd be embarrassing for me. Smudgings and blessings. This is
That's a cultural thing. and
it's a cultural
religious
thing. It's a religious thing. Okay. I get it. But say 60% of the places we investigate, they say they've had their house smudged. Now, to me, like, great, like anything you can do, have a priest come bless your house, whatever.
Right.
It's not gonna hurt anything.
No, right.
But like, of course, unless you're like involved with the shamanic wisdom and like, what does that do for you? Like, if I came into this house and started reading from the Talmud or the Quran,
Yeah,
It-
it's not gonna.
right? Like I'm really of no fixed religion,
Right.
so it doesn't do a thing for me, right? And if I go into, a Muslim's home and start reading from a Jewish text, that's not going to go well. Or if I smudge, it's not going to mean a thing,
Right.
right? So I do think that it's kind of strange that people will do that. They'll talk about smudging and that noise, but they have no
Yeah.
attachment to an indigenous past. And I don't know what that actually does, other than make the place smell very nice.
Well, yeah, that's just like kind of like the main stage that people talk about. But like, there's so much more to smudging than like obviously a non-indigenous person would be. Like, that's way more cultural because oftentimes indigenous people are very like familial related and like it's very tight knit. So for us to just smudge a house, they're gonna go, okay, but what cultural like attachment do you even have to that? Like,
Right.
How are you gonna cleanse this house if you don't even know the meaning behind why you're cleansing it, kind of thing?
Right. So that's one theory also that I see working against it is the fact that, okay, look, if you're a Roman Catholic family and you've had a priest to come in and bless the place,
Yeah.
I mean, it sort of makes sense. I still don't know what it does,
Right.
right? I mean, I'd really like to walk in on one of those exorcist scenes, like
Right.
the whole priest and the pea soup everywhere and the head twisting around on the bed and all that shit. That would be fantastic. It's much as the same as poltergeists. And
Right.
I've had this discussion with a lot of investigators. And in 30 years, I've never come across a poltergeist. I mean, the whole term is noisy ghost.
Yeah.
So, I mean, like if you hear a noise, I suppose that could be a poltergeist. But of course, in the movies, the poltergeists are ripping through your walls.
Yeah.
And there's all kinds of blood and
Slime
guts coming
going
out.
down
Yeah,
the
slime
wall.
everywhere. That's all fantastic. I remember having this discussion actually when I was invited to investigate Six Nations, indigenous burial grounds, graveyards in general, like, investigating graveyards, which we don't do. Philip, hey, he's back.
Holy water on my tires. Want to get a new vehicle.
Well, that's a great tradition, though. Maybe I've had some bad luck with some cars in the past. Maybe
Do you know what? Yeah, you were getting an accident after accident for a while.
No, my cars were breaking
Yeah,
down.
no, okay, you weren't causing the accident, but you were getting into accidents.
So, graveyards. I don't investigate graveyards because of the fact that there's a ton of contamination there, right? Audio is coming from noise. Pictures, you're going to have all kinds of bugs. Oh, they're orbs. I'll get onto that later.
I think it's also just a little odd, to be walking all over, like, people's, like, obviously not their body, but where their body is lying. Like, I think it's just, like, a little weird.
I know, to me, I'll be dead by 70. I want that. I'm not being buried.
No,
I'm being cremated.
Right.
But I don't know that I would go hang out where my carcass is.
Well, that too.
That's weird.
That too, but I just vaguely remember, like, early high school, there was some girl that did a photo shoot lying all over, like, the benches that are
The erotic graveyard.
yeah. So
Whew, that's hot.
okay, the headstones that people make into benches.
Yeah.
She was lying over there taking people's flowers and taking photos with it. And I remember she got so much hate for it because they were like, "Why the fuck would you do a photo shoot on people's headstones?"
That's weird.
And it was a little odd, and so now that kind of like makes it. I mean, I guess like a small investigation would hurt, like just to bring like a full team, just like walking all over the place.
Yeah.
I think it might be a little weird.
I don't know.
And so just people grieving because people go in the middle of the night all the time.
And the same with the indigenous burial ground. So the
Right.
thing is, first off, when I've spoken to a few people in the community, and they all have different burial rights.
Right.
Like, it's not like
Well, yeah.
all indigenous people have the
No,
same burial
each
right.
culture, each
Right.
tribe, everything.
They're all different.
Yeah.
It's kind of like saying in the world, that Ethiopians are exactly the same as somebody from Senegal.
Right.
They'd probably be quite mad if you said that.
Right.
Well, same thing with the tribes, right? They don't all share the same common interest. I know that when we're up in Serpent Mounds, those are burial mounds, okay? And yes, that's consecrated grounds. When I was talking to Six Nations, the lad down there that I was speaking to says, "You got to get this whole idea of Indian burial ground out of your head." He says, "Really, they were just buried where it was convenient, So, not necessarily sacred ground, whatever. It's kind of a hard guess, but again, the movies really bring that up, and certainly narratives bring that up. But I don't think what it is I don't think that because somebody is dead in the ground, that makes it a place to investigate.
Yeah. Well, no.
But I mean, I suppose. I mean, if somebody was dead in the wall of my house,
You might want to.
I might want to investigate.
Yeah.
I guess. I don't know.
It's like the boy who's living in the walls.
I mean, it's creepy, but I just think, unfortunately, it's that's become more of a thing.
Right.
I think also because it's easy to investigate a graveyard.
Right. Well, yeah, that's the thing. You don't have to do anything.
Right. You don't have to get permission to go anywhere. You just go do it. Storms increase activity.
Just why though? Like,
Well,
I just don't get it.
Mainly electromagnetic in the air.
But even just being
But
near,
there's no guarantee that means anything spiritual
but
activity.
even just being near like telephone poles and stuff, like the house we did in Pickering, we had crazy EMF ratings because we were right next to
The hydro
lines, or sorry, not telephone poles, hydro lines. So okay, a storm is the same thing as a hydro line, just increased electroactivity.
I do think that really it comes right down to creep factor. Look, I mean, I'm all for investigating like an old prison during a big thunderstorm.
Oh yeah, it'd be
Because
cool.
it just adds an air of yaw,
It adds texture.
That's it. There you go. That's just it. It makes it cooler for the investigator.
Right.
That's it. That's it. But you've also got then it's going to mitigate a lot of noise
Right.
contamination on the audio.
Oh yeah, thundering. It's just gonna block everything.
Right. In the dark. Investigating in the dark. I've gone over this in about 10 episodes. It doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter investigating in the dark. So and I think that Philip, that's kind of part of the going theory on that. That's being tested, right? And I've got a bit more about that a little bit later on, especially when we're talking about EMF. Doing it in the dark is for several reasons. why we do it in the dark. Like Sandy and I just drove a 7-hour round trip the other day to do an investigation at a schoolhouse in the daytime. And we got results. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Like, you know, why would a ghost have a, okay, it's 10 o'clock. Why is 3 a.m. the witching hour? Who the fuck came up with that? Who said 3 a.m.? It's the witching hour.
Yeah.
Well, okay. We do it at night because we all work during the day, so it's nighttime we do it. It's cooler, like it's physically cooler, so you're not sweating everything off. Let's see, there's less noise at night, less traffic at night. Your senses, when it's darker, move more to your hearing and smell than it does the vision.
Well, it makes sense, yeah. Like you don't focus all of your attention on your eyesight at that point.
And I guess really it's more neat. But I think one of the things that happened is, of course, in the 80s when all the television shows started
Everything was done at night.
It was done at night, it was haunted, and there was night vision. You don't see a horror movie that's based on daytime activities, right? Most of the time when Jason's running around hacking people up, it's happening at nighttime.
Yeah, at nighttime in the pitch black.
Right. When people are sleeping. And of course, in those teenage movies when everybody's wearing their little halter tops and all that and having pillow fights, you know, then Jason comes in the room and stabs everybody.
Out of the 100 sleepovers you've seen me have, how often?
Nobody.
Maybe a whole 2 times.
And you know what?
Pillow
I've had lots of sleepovers, and none of my buddies and I had pillow fights. We never wore halter tops.
Well, you gotta start.
Do you see what my buddies look like?
Yeah, you can start anytime for halter tops. Take a pillow to work. Start pillow fighting with them.
I'm gonna. Okay, ectoplasms. Now we're getting into like the other stuff. Ectoplasm became very, very big during the, say, late 1860s into the 40s when it came to spirit photography. One of the things in the 1860s is we had different kinds of cameras where things were burned onto plates, and you could fuck with it a little more. So ectoplasm back then, of course, they would take pictures where you had cheesecloth coming out of your mouth, and they would say that was, you know, a spirit, you know, escaping you, right? And this was really big in the spiritualist times. Now, I was raised a spiritualist. I was raised in the church that was created by the Fox sisters in the 1800s, which then born all these mediums and psychics everywhere for a dime a dozen. You know, and they would coin back to some of these things that happened during those times. And one of the things, of course, that was back when table tipping was a big thing,
Right.
and the spirit photography, because you could screw with it, and all you had to do was shift the camera just a little bit during the shot, and all of a sudden you had a second face up there. All right, it was much easier to do. The ectoplasm, you know, and I get that thrown in my face. I get like the people had ectoplasm coming out of their mouth in the picture. I saw my aunt; it was terrible. Look, you can cough with enough spittle.
Enough force, yeah.
You know, and cough out something, and somebody catches it with a flash, and then boom, there's ectoplasm. Aunt Henrietta, I guess, today, Aunt Henry, you know, coughed out of your mouth. Limestone and imprinting. So now we're getting into more of the serious stuff, right? So there's some banter back and forth on this one here. That was kind of brought up by Charles Babbage way back. You know, the stone tape theory. Harry Price went along with the stone tape theory as well. You know, the whole idea that limestone conserves a certain kind of energy. You know, it's almost like spiritual etching that happens. How am I with that one now? I am also a smoker. I get ectoplasm about every 45 minutes. So the limestone thing, now I think that's kind of odd because, you know, we've investigated a number of places that are heavily cemented in limestone.
I have never found any property being way more activity filled over limestone.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
Really?
Look, I got to be honest with you. Like I have a lot of faith in what Harry Price did back in the day, grandfather of what we did. I don't believe in it totally. I don't think it, but it's almost like they say it's like a record.
But I think also I don't exactly pay attention to like the stone and whatever material like is around the house.
Good point. And we've done places that are like cobblestone, like limestone base.
Right.
Same idea is that running water creates,
Right.
you know, energy for it. And I don't think there's any proof to it, frankly. Art Bell did some stuff on it, some experiments on it as well. Talked about on Coast to Coast years ago. In 2001, the philosophy itself got re-propelled by somebody.
Right.
So who knows, right? Like that's probably, shall I say, one of the more.
I think it's an odd theory.
It's an odd theory, but it's a more researchable
Right,
theory, and it might be something that data might.
Yeah, there's more capability of data backing it up, but it's just an odd way to be like, oh, limestone leads to more, paranormal activity. Like it just seems a little odd to say, I guess.
I guess.
Cool. It's like saying
Well, I agree.
my brick house brings more Wolverines.
More Wolverines.
Brings more werewolves. That's the word I'm looking.
Werewolves aren't ghosts. I don't care about. That's a cryptozoologist that's into
Okay,
that.
my point
I'm not a
being,
crypto guy. We had the crypto guy on weeks ago. Oh, by the way, just so people know, tonight we're now booking guests for future shows, so you don't have to stop listening to me.
There's a long wait list, so get on it.
Yeah, and we are also doing this Songs Instagram and Songs Anchor, Spotify, all that crap, because
Next week
not worth
though, there's a video game that came out. I think it's called like Paraphasmophilium or something like that, and it's about investigating. So I'm gonna play it this week so that next podcast we can talk about it. So
next podcast is yours.
yes.
Oh, good. I don't have to come up with anything. For
Well,
it.
I need to collect my thoughts on it. So I'm gonna have to check the name on that. So hold on. You can keep talking.
Okay, so then now we're going to talk about I don't know if I want to get back into that yet. No, I'm not going to talk about EMF yet. I'm going to talk about construction increases activity. There's absolutely no data to back that up. Phasmophobia.
It's an odd name.
It's a game I won't play.
But I'm told I'm not allowed to debunk it while playing. So
Construction, I haven't seen any data affecting it, but that seems to be one of the biggest theories. Oh, have you done any recent construction to your house? Why that ever became a theory?
it just seems a little weird. Like, why would that be like?
Well, because they say it would anger somebody who lived then.
Right.
But okay, so Sandy and I have been in this place for 14 years, right? 13 years. We've changed this place a bunch of times.
Are you submitting questions? You can ask them. We're not. You don't need to.
Oh, you want to throw a question in? Go ahead. Submit. Speak up, man. We'll get into it. Oh, chocolate bar. Chocolate bar. I can't see behind me.
She's gone already.
Okay. So I don't know that it happens, but it seems to be one of the biggest things. That's one of the biggest questions that gets asked, and I don't know where it started. But see, the thing is that if say somebody lived in the house, I don't know, 100 years ago, there's probably a good chance they did construction on their house.
That's gonna change.
And they changed it, and they changed it around, and they moved furniture just like we do. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't like back then. Back in those days, we put furniture there, and we kept that furniture for 50 years and never even moved it.
However, I did see a post online where someone did construction on their bathroom, and on the base wall, it was a photo of the family that lived there originally. And it says, "Why are you changing the bathroom? What's wrong with it?" And it was really funny.
Oh.
You'll wait for the EMF portion. Okay.
It's EVP related. I'll wait for the EMF position. Okay. Yeah, cold is an indicator. If it's cold, that's got to be a spirit. We don't know if they're cold or warm.
That's always been a media thing.
Okay, so here's how that goes. That became really big in the 80s again. Certainly when pistol thermometers, ambient thermometers, forward-looking infrared, FLIR cameras became big, and all of a sudden we became obsessed with the fact that spirits were cold. I feel a cold draft. Again, we don't know what spirits are, so I question that.
I mean, does it feel weird on an investigation if you're overly sweating most of the time, then suddenly you're freezing?
But your body does that.
Right, it does, but sometimes it is a little odd. Like if it's a kind of a moderate temperature, and then you go.
So I know that we've stopped using temperature as a gauge almost completely.
I mean, you mentioned what the temperature is, but that's about it.
Yeah. I mean, like if it's 23 degrees and it goes down to like 12, and 5 seconds? Okay, well, what we're going to look for is a reason why that happened physically to start with. But like in FLIR, anybody out there knows how to read a FLIR? Like it depends on what I can see. Hopefully Brandon's on right now because he knows how to read FLIR. The fact is that a FLIR, if the parameter is, well, it doesn't matter. Don't text him. I don't want him on.
He read it.
If he's
so
not on.
He better be on.
So like, you could have a parameter rating of 5 degrees. Okay. So like if I'm shooting the wall and the one part of the wall is 4 degrees lower, it's going to go from a pink to a dark blue. Right? Holy shit, right? But I mean,
Crazy.
I guess it all depends on how it's set, how it's
Right.
calibrated, and who's reading it. Look, FLIR, and we own a FLIR, is for firefighters and HVAC technicians.
I think
He's an
Brandon
engineer.
uses it. Yeah, he
uses
doesn't do any HVAC or anything, but he does use it on.
But he might use it on stress tension on
Right.
devices to see if
I
it's
mean, he had like
overheating.
$1 million FLIR machine like in the house, and he was using it, and
Yeah.
it's pretty wild.
You know what? Like we have it, but I got to be honest with you, most of it for texture. The other way maybe is to turn around and tell the client like you need some better insulation because you're getting really bad drafts
Your
because the
house
corner
is-
of your house is completely frigid. But it became really big as far as that goes. EMF. Okay, I guess we'll start talking about EMF.
Okay.
EMF is probably the biggest fallacy that's out there as far as I'm concerned, as how people measure it. It became really big again in the 80s, right? Like right now we're using K2s. They're a single access device. They're not used properly to start with. And like telephone will turn them on. They're used because they're a great visual aid because you can see the little lights going up and down. And I remember way back when we had the Gossmaster, I just sold that not too long ago. And it made the wee, wee, wee noise, you know what I mean? You saw it on all kinds of paranormal shows.
That's why I like the EDI because it shows
it just
way
does.
more
Yeah.
way more detailed.
Well, it's a
version.
data recorder. It's not an EMF detector. It has an EMF detector in it. Have you ever noticed that EVPs are usually only picked up on a handheld recorder, but not on the camera? No. Again, usually any theories on that? No. Our last investigation, we got an EVP on the recorder and the video camera. Generally speaking, when we do video, we compare at least. Is there an echo to it? Meaning, was there wind being pushed? Something physically taught it out of the mouth. Most times if it's on camera, because we get everything filmed face forward, we can see it. The one we got, though, however, the last investigation was completely out of place, and it had complete conjunction with what we were doing at the time. If you watch our last video, most times we don't get it on camera, like the EMF, the EVP, which unfortunately none of you will see because we had to take it offline, where we had screaming coming through her headphones, or a large breath, or like a very large exhale that we could hear 10 feet away from her headphones. Did not come on camera. But I don't necessarily think there's any relation between the two of them. EMF is poorly measured to start with, probably because the fact is that what we really got to establish is EMF is more a physical factor on what the person's perception is rather than why we decided that that's what a ghost is. We don't know what a ghost is at this point in time, right? Like we don't know that it's electrical. We don't know that it's made of nylon. We don't know that a polyester ghost exists. Okay, so therefore it's a bad indicator. What EMF is a very good base read indicator is what are things that are possibly causing somebody's misrepresentation of the house.
It's a beginning thought.
Yeah, it's a barometer. Like we just did a case where the alarm clock next to the girl's head just recently was reading about 20 EMF or 20 milligauss. Okay, so that's 2 microtesla. My further conversation will feed into that. That could have a longer lasting effect as to what are happening during dreams, synaptic response in the brain is the possible theory. I know that, again, talking to my boss, who is educated as a neuroscientist, he brought up, I'm going to forget the guy's name now, damn it, Michael Persinger, who was a professor at Laurentian University, had written a lot of papers on the actual effect of EMF. He did his discussions more on microtesla as opposed to milligauss, so they convert about 10 to 1. On lab rats, things like that, being exposed to a certain amount of microtesla, say 2 microtesla over a time-weighted average. So we're not talking about like the 5-second response, but like, okay, we're lying next to it
Right.
8 hours a night. Okay, they were having aborted fetuses and malformed babies, and they were acting erratically. So they're now, mind you, his theories, again, he's a scientist.
Right.
His theories are being disputed by a great deal of scientists as well. But I mean, there's been some quantitative proof that there actually is some damaging results to an EMF. I know that a lot of houses, when we get people creeped out, you go up and read the ballasts that are kind of like monkeyed up with their fluorescent lights, and it's going off the charts. We just did a case where a timer switch in a wall, brand new, was set my tri-field, which goes up to 100 milligauss, off the charts, shut it off every single time I went near the meter. Yeah. Okay, or the device.
Yeah.
I pull away about a foot, it was nothing, a foot away. But that was just a timer that turned off the lights.
Right.
Right? So EMF, there's something we can work with. I don't know that it guarantees, like the ghost is indicated by EMF. When we have a meter going off and it does go off, it gives you a reason, possibly, like if you're doing an EVP session and asking more questions, it might give you a question like, okay, are you with us now?
For sure.
Because then if you got a response,
Right.
that might back up. But too many people base cases off.
The entire. Yeah.
Oh my God, this place got like it went off the charts on EMF. Well, that just means that there may be really bad wiring. Could be old knob and tube in the house, whatever. So EMF is somewhat scientifically proven that it has effects, probably on the living, not necessarily on the dead. We're working on that, right? I don't really prescribe to it. Once in a while, we bring them around. We've got a road trip in the States, which, by the way, she backed out of. Just saying, it cost us more in hotel.
Okay, we're gonna take a pause on that. I just got a new job. I can't book a weekend off 2 weeks into starting there.
Whatever.
But this new job allows me to go to more investigations. So win-win.
It's okay. We canceled one of the rooms. It's saving us money in the end. So we're going to do a place down there, and of course we'll do the EMF thing, right? Because it's part of the experiment. It's part of the working theory. There's no guarantee. Unfortunately, we've gone into many cases where a previous team has gone in and said it's haunted because of EMF. And the one place that was haunted because of EMF, I put the EMF meter to the floor and went underneath, and there was a fire suppression system on the ceiling, and that was what it was measuring. So don't ever base a case on it. All right, all kinds of things like Potter switches and that sort of thing. We're hiring. Dave will give you the week off.
Oh.
Yeah, I need people on my team too, Mike. I'm going around covering people.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're hiring. Come.
No.
No, we don't pay as much as what you're getting.
No.
She has a degree.
You're still on that.
I don't have a degree.
I know.
I'm like a blue collar schmo. I'm a clerk. That's what I am. So I'm a clerk. Okay, provoking.
I think it's fun in nature, and that's kind of me. Okay, no, I don't think. Okay, that came out wrong. I think it's interesting to do, and Phil always does it. Phil Booker, sorry, not you.
Well, he does. Well, no. I think we're gonna have a definition here.
Okay.
Where are you talking about provoking? Are you talking about like provocation by questions,
No.
or like saying you better get out of here, I'll kick you right in the mouth?
Well,
Phil doesn't do that all the time. Phil's like really super
I
sensitive.
don't know. Sometimes he gets. I've been on investigations with him where he gets a little like, "Why are you here?" Like he'll get a little snippy.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
See, I don't provoke just generally on a respect level
No.
because the client's there. Look, we've done prisons, and they basically like, I'll provoke all the hell in a prison. I don't care if they're dead. They were diddlers and rapists, right? Like you killed people, you messed around with children. I'm gonna make fun of you up and down.
Right.
And if that elicits a response from my research, yay, win.
Right.
Okay. If you're talking about certainly provoking as far as a emotional response, yes, definitely, with respect. So yeah, but I don't necessarily, I've never seen provoking really do a lot. Frankly, The most EVPs that we've ever got, and we proved it in the last
We're not
investigation,
in.
is when we're not in
Yeah,
that
we're not
mode.
even asking any questions.
All we're doing is sitting around talking about, the Leafs, who are probably losing right now. Somebody tell me the
That
Leafs
last
score.
game was really bad. So.
Yeah, it was bad. If somebody can tell me the Leafs score, that'd be great. They're probably losing. Wait, hold on. I'm a psychic.
They're losing.
They're losing. I see losing. Right. So, where it comes right down to it, that's my point. Lost my point completely. See how I really messed my point? I thought about the Leafs. God, they just ruined my night.
You used to be a diehard fan.
Okay. I'm in my 50s and I've never seen the Leafs win a cup. Okay.
Yeah, you weren't even born the last time.
1967 was the last time they won a cup.
Yep.
Dude, 67, that's like 145 years ago. Okay? Professional hockey, they were still like tying up newspapers around their shins instead of using pads when the last time they won the cup.
They were part of the top 7.
So, Orbs. Oh God. We're going to talk about Orbs, which for some reason to this point in time is still, like, spirit photography has been dead for years. We're no longer having ectoplasm coming out. Uncle Bob is still there. At every single seminar I teach, somebody comes up and says, look, this is my uncle. He was standing, 2-zip. I was right. I'm psychic. He was standing next to me. And I'll say, you know what? You're right.
Well, yeah.
Why? Because I'm not going to hurt somebody's
Yeah,
feelings.
that's not your uncle.
It's not it's not your uncle, stupid. It's just a picture of
dust.
fluff. It's dust. It's moisture. It's a bug. It's lens flare. It's whatever it is. It's not a spirit. Again, I got 3,000 pictures on my website. Not one paranormal. I've never caught a paranormal picture in my life. Pictures are for texture to show everybody what's going on. That's it. So it was basically the 19th century when that came in. Spirit photography was really big. Digital cameras kind of brought it back because now you could take 7,000 pictures and not have to have them developed. Look,
That makes sense.
I went through an orb phase. I'm ashamed to admit it. Yeah. When I I'd be embarrassed. You were.
I mean, I should quit. I can't be on a team where someone's obsessed with orbs like
No,
that.
we'll say 17 years ago we kicked things over. The first time we ever experienced night vision, not in pictures, but even night vision. And you were like, holy shit. Because the first thing we investigated was my barn. I had a barn.
God, I love
Okay.
that barn. That was a beautiful property.
Yeah, we had a barn. Okay. And we got orbs because it gets lots of dust in a barn. And sure enough, I was like, whoa. And then 3 investigations later, we did an experiment and realized this is just dust. I think we were just excited at seeing it. You know what I mean? It's just something different.
I mean, it's kind of fun.
The first time you see night vision, you're like, wow.
I mean, even I remember doing Bowmanville with Phil, and we kept seeing the same orb kind of like roll across the floor. And even after like a few times, like Phil was like, "What is happening? Like, why is the same ball of whatever doing the same pattern over and over and over
Because
again?"
it's a dust bunny.
Yeah, he's hopping around.
It's like a tumbleweed.
Yeah. But anyway, so I remember like it was kind of actually pretty tricky. I mean, that was after feeling a bunch of vibrations under the beds. So I still don't. We never went digging because.
Now who's into orbs? Shut up.
Yeah.
So they're not real. Okay. They're not. We're going to talk about EVPs last. Haunted items, psychometry.
Yeah.
Psychometric solution. This became really big with Joseph Buchanan around 1842. Was a spiritualist. Used to grab shit and talk about what this thing was around it. Again, I'm a spiritualist. So when I grew up in the church all the time, we'd have meditation sessions and we were handed things and you would have to come up with
Every episode of Supernatural, the first 2 seasons, they're setting everything on fire because these ghosts are just staying back.
Sure, they're stuck. They're stuck.
Always, they always forgot something. Oh, gotta go back. Let me go set the blanket on fire because they're stuck between the.
Now, mind you, Supernatural isn't real. It's a story. They're actors.
Wow. Oh my God. Jensen Ackles isn't a real life investigator?
No.
I'm in awe.
No.
I'm going to go send 8 messages on Twitter.
So the So that, I mean, the psychometry, I don't know if there's anything to that. Again, that is also kind of harkening back to the whole limestone, stone tape theory. Maybe something's imprinted. Like I've got, okay, I'll tell you what, my wedding ring that I wear right now, my brother-in-law had on before he died. Okay, the wedding ring that my wife has was my mother's wedding ring that she wore married to my father before she died.
Oh, there's definitely some spiritual connection.
So could there be? I don't know.
Yeah.
Right. So do I hope there is? Kinda. Do I go around grabbing objects from people's houses and doing things?
I think okay, here's the thing where it might differ. If we go into someone else's house and they say that they have a spiritual connection to an item and we feel a sense of something, that's one thing.
Right.
But let's say, okay, I have my hedgehog's ashes in, okay, I have a point here. I have my hedgehog's ashes in a heart-shaped urn. When I touch it, of course, I feel something spiritual. And of course,
That's an emotional connection.
You have an emotional connection to these rings.
Sure.
So we're biased on our own items. So we can't make that spiritual connection to our own item. Someone else has to do that for us.
Yeah, it's confirmation bias. That's right. So, I mean, now, that said, we have done a case specifically based on the furniture that was in the home. Okay? Because there was a bit of the person had passed away and there was a really libelous court case. And we got EVPs clear. Look at our first Ajax case. And we got EVPs that were clear and clearly in recognition to the furniture. One of the EVPs being, that's my stuff. And we were talking about that. So I don't necessarily know that has anything to do with the absorption of energy on that stuff. But really more the fact that, you know, maybe people are attracted to certain things. Like, I really, really like my Lazy Boy. I had a great leather Lazy Boy. And my wife decided that we needed to buy new furniture. So now we've got this godforsaken box-shaped L couch that I just cannot get comfortable on. And it's all static, right? And the dog's hair gets stuck all over.
So are you going to, like, when you're dead, haunt this Lazy Boy?
This Lazy Boy is in parts at the Oshawa dump. Now, if we investigated after I died,
that's where you'll
I'm going to be 8 layers underneath the dump.
Okay.
And my Lazy Boy.
Sounds good.
Right. So the haunted items thing, that rose to a very big thing. And look, there are some good people. John Zappis is very big into that. I like John. He's a great guy. EVPs and white noise. Okay, here's the tail end of it. Okay. You know, this was big. Edison did work with it. You know, Jurgensen with his bird song and all kinds of stuff they were recording back then. I can't pronounce it. Can't read the damn last name because I wrote it down so badly. It was Constantine, and it starts with an R. And I'm sorry, guys. I'm not a bloody historian. But this, you know, in the 1840s, the 1930s, there was a lot of recording of this stuff. Harry Price was very big in it, and he got involved with it with ticker tape and kinds of weird stuff. With magnetic cassette and all that. We got big and bigger into it, and now we can do it because we can erase and re-record with digital, and we can filter things down. Now, white noise, of course, being like a background. Like right now, we've got a fan up here because now that we've turned from winter to summer, it's 171 degrees in 3 days. It's too hot in here. So that white fan would be considered like a white noise, a background noise, a hiss, right? The idea is that you're giving it like sort of a media to place itself in. When I first started, like 30 years ago when I was investigating, you know, you'd turn the TV on, and the TV or your radios would go static. And the TV would go all fuzzy.
Back and forth between channels.
Exactly. And you take pictures of it and whatever. Oh, I see a face. I see this. That's called pareidolia. Okay, that, like your mind will see what it needs to see or what it wants to see. Nothing to it whatsoever. White noise, I don't know that it really means anything. EVPs, however, in my 30 years of research, have been the most consistent form of some kind of evidence.
Absolutely.
And when we do our EVPs, we do an investigation. We might have 50 hits, like 50 anomalous noises.
And
we end up with about 5, and then we put them for peer review, and we get down to whatever is there. Could be none. Like on this last investigation, We had one where it was a male voice going, "Let's go home," mechanically sounding. It was my wife and the client left in the schoolhouse. I was 50 feet away loading up the car, and it was the digital signature on it was under a decibel. Like it was quieter
That's
than
the
you
thing.
could.
I couldn't make any of them out. So when I was doing evidence review, all I could write was I heard it because I didn't know what they were saying, but I heard something.
Mhm.
Whereas usually I can make it out and go, okay, I heard someone say this. I couldn't hear any of them on whatever I was listening to it on. So
We've had the most luck with EVP. It's the only thing so far that I can see of having any value to. So I don't know why that's created that way. I don't know why EVPs work that way. I don't know what creates them. There's a smell in here. Did you fart?
it's definitely
No, I know what I do. Why they work? I don't know. But 90% of them, sometimes I'll go back on them over the years and go, "That's crap."
Do you think it might? Okay, you already brought up confirmation bias, but do you think like it confirms our feelings about a location? Like if we feel like we're in like a haunted location and we're getting hits, we may want to use these to confirm that the
Well,
place.
If you've gone to a location that's purportedly haunted and it has the background to it, you really want something.
Right. And
But we did so there's the one ship that's sinking in Buffalo Harbor. We did those 3 battleships,
Yeah.
right? It was for our 10th anniversary. We did those, and we had 20 of us went down there. We had 10 hours on the boats. We got nothing,
okay.
0, right? So there's certainly but we do peer review,
Right.
right? Even the ones that came from the last investigation, I can't say they're approved to anything. I gave them to the client as evidence that we couldn't debunk.
Right. Okay. Okay.
They weren't like great. Like when we talk about like 1, 2, 3 ABC,
Yeah.
as far as classification goes,
Oh.
like the Let's Go Home was like a 3A
Yeah.
because like the quality wasn't great. You could make it out, but it had direct correlation to what we were doing at that point in time. So, whatever. EVPs are kind of our bag. The term white noise. Hey, Sandy and I have a little vacation home, and the name on the side of it is white noise. It's but I don't think we really prescribe to white noise. Frankly, we don't do noisemakers.
Yeah.
However, and we'll say that EVPs again, you have to ask certain questions when you're on an investigation. You've got to be like, how old are you?
Well, yeah, you need
gotta
to
do-
provoke some questions.
Right. But really, when it happens, and is when we're just sitting around talking about, the Leafs and how upset we are, and all of a sudden they'll be like, "Yeah, no shit, they suck," right? It's the way it comes across. Or when we're packing up. When we're packing up, the last thing we load up now, if we try to, is audio. Yeah, that's it. So those are really all the theories I just kind of wanted to touch upon. Get that whole. It's like only 6 or 7 minutes left of the show. So you guys it's open session now. Talk.
I'm also working on our Wikipedia page.
Oh yeah.
So it's coming. It's just obviously I have other life responsibilities, so sometimes I have to walk away from it. But it's almost done. And then that'll be the Pinterest, and then more focus on our social media. But so in 2 weeks I will be playing the Phasmophobia or whatever, and we'll collect my thoughts on it, and maybe even I'm gonna see if I can upload a video on here of me playing it, so that way you guys can understand the game. Point being is that I will do a segment on if this game is a crock of shit or not.
So now, of course, we're talking about social media. We are upping that game just because that's a fact of life. That's what we can do to get what we do out there. Hopefully that people can learn.
We have TikTok, Facebook, and Instagram.
Right?
And
And
YouTube.
she's young, and that's something she does. And I hate social media as a rule, so I don't.
Because you're old.
So any questions from anybody? You got 5 minutes to do it. Let's get the best question in the world.
Wow, my hubby said he was gonna watch.
Your fiance didn't watch.
I don't know, he read my message.
I guess that engagement is being
Yeah,
cut short.
I'm gonna go throw this ring out.
Throw the ring out, throw the dress I just bought out,
Yeah. I'm gonna sell it. Give you back the money.
give me back the money. Okay, give me back the money. That's all I care about.
Okay.
All right, fair enough. That's all we had to talk about tonight. And we're going to, so we're not doing a guest next show.
Unless you can find one next show.
Oh, I see. Okay, so if I can find a guest, we'll do a guest. But if not, then we'll talk about Phantasmagoria.
Phasmophobia. Thoughts on mediums?
That'll be a show.
That will be a show. No, Michael is asking.
Oh, thoughts on mediums. Oh, I thought you were asking about my show. Look, I grew up in the spiritualist church. I probably have forgotten more shit about that than I learned about paranormal investigation. Until I was in my 20s, I was involved in the spiritualist church. Taught at the University of Spiritual Sciences. Used to lead meditation classes. So as far as the whole trained medium thing, I'm one of them. There you go. Head of a pragmatic team, and I had my mediumship training. I think, unfortunately, over the years, I became a little more skeptical of them because I do see how they roast things up. And I saw what became of them. Like, there was something really innocent about it at one point in time. One point in time, it was very business, and then it became innocent, and it became business.
Right.
And unfortunately, right now, all mediums and psychics seem to be a dime a dollar,
Right.
and dime a dollar, dime a dozen,
Right.
dime a dozen, and they spread line like wildfire. Our team is investigated with other teams that have mediums, and it's always become a shitstorm. I mean, like one medium just yelling and screaming about all the people that I'm killing on the other side, about all the ghosts or spirits she sees hanging everywhere, and all the crying that she heard down the hallway, and how I had a golem or gargoyle or some kind of mythical beast following me around, which again would have been really great to get on tape. And then a lot of them come into houses and talk about vortexes and basements and get people all riled up. And then, I mean, look, it is what it is. I'll tell you what, I'll do some sessions with tarot cards. I have tarot cards, and I can do a tarot card reading for you, just to show you how easy all that shit is, right? It's all a game. I did psychic fairs back in the day when I was a lot younger. Charged $50 for a tarot card reading, and yeah, I mean, you do work off of instinct and meaning, but
You lived a life that you haven't told me about.
yeah, well, because I changed. So, unfortunately, that's look, it's kind of like when you're in business, in a certain business, and the way business is conducted, you become cynical towards business, right? Or if you're like when I used to be a prostitute, you didn't know about that either.
Okay.
And I made so much money doing that.
And you used to do heroin, that too?
Oh no, I stayed away from the drugs. I was a very clean prostitute.
No, you literally made me think you did heroin. Like when I was like 12, you made a joke one time and kept going, and I actually thought that mom did heroin. And I remember asking her about. She's like, "What are you talking about?" So yeah, good time.
I nearly touched drugs my entire life.
God.
I hardly
50 seconds.
I hardly drink beer. Yeah, that's it. So have a good night, guys. Really appreciate you guys being here. It was nice, interactive. I rambled on. Hopefully we'll have a guest for next show, so we don't have to talk about cosmogorical that she's going to play. So